Red Bull may have already found Max Verstappen's replacement, and it is not Oscar Piastri. 2 race weekends in a row, the same rear wing has failed on Verstappen's car, and this week he used a word no driver ever wants to use about his own machine. Behind the scenes, the son of the man who built Red Bull has reportedly decided he wants Max gone, while the team's own boss is fighting to keep him. And over at Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton's team is about to rip apart off the car it has used at every single race this season, on purpose. Welcome back. Let's get into everything moving in the world of Formula One right now, starting with the story that's dominating every conversation in the paddock. Max Verstappen, a team at war with itself 2 race weekends, 2 identical failures, and a 4-time world champion who has stopped calling it bad luck. At the Austrian Grand Prix, Verstappen crashed out of qualifying when the car suddenly lost rear grip in a high-speed corner. His engineers suspected the rear wing at the time. 1 week later at Silverstone, it happened again, this time in the race itself, 4 laps from the end, while running third with a podium well within reach. The wing simply didn't close properly on the way into a fast corner, the rear end lost downforce, and Verstappen span off with no contact, no mistake, and no rival anywhere near him. Here's what makes this different from a normal mechanical gremlin. These cars run movable rear wings this season, a system similar in spirit to the old DRS, flattening out on the straights for top speed and snapping back into a high grip position for the corners. Ferrari drives that movement with 2 separate motors, one on each side of the flap. Red Bull chose a single central actuator instead, and by most technical breakdowns, that design means the flap has to rotate through an angle where drag spikes right at the exact moment it's supposed to be locking shut. Twice now, at that precise moment, it hasn't. And here's the detail that should really worry Red Bull. The regulations require these systems to fail safe, meaning if something goes wrong, they're supposed to default back into the high grip, cornering safe position automatically. Reports suggest Ferrari's dual motor design does exactly that by nature of its build. Red Bull's single actuator version doesn't guarantee that fallback nearly as cleanly. That's not a performance issue anymore, that's a safety design question, and it's serious enough that the FIA is reportedly now in direct conversations with both Red Bull and Ferrari about how these wings actually function. Verstappen himself drew the exact line you'd expect a driver to draw. 1 failure, he said, is bad luck. A second failure, in the same type of corner, is something else entirely. His own word for it was dangerous, precisely because at that speed, in that kind of corner, you can genuinely hurt yourself. He used the word luck twice, describing both incidents, and made it clear that's exactly why his patience is running out. His own team principal didn't dispute any of it. Publicly, Red Bull has now apologized to their own 4-time champion twice in 2 consecutive race weekends for the same category of failure. That is not standard paddock messaging. That's a team openly admitting it let its best driver down, twice, in exactly the way the rulebook was designed to prevent. It gets more complicated once you go beyond the car itself. Reports out of the paddock describe a lengthy conversation after Silverstone between Verstappen's father, his manager, and Red Bull's CEO. Nobody's confirmed exactly what was said, but the fact that meeting happened at all, in the aftermath of 2 crashes, tells you the temperature inside that team right now. And then there's the ownership situation, which might be the most explosive part of this entire story. Red Bull is split almost exactly down the middle, 51% controlled by the Thai side of the ownership, 49% by the family of the company's late founder. According to multiple reports, the son now holding that 49% stake wants to cut ties with Verstappen entirely, reportedly because Verstappen won't commit to staying, and that refusal has apparently been taken as a personal insult. The team's own principal, meanwhile, is said to want the opposite, a contract extension all the way through 2030. One owner pushing him toward the exit, the man actually running the racing team fighting to keep him in the car. That is not a normal contract negotiation. That's a genuine split at the top of the organization, playing out while the car is simultaneously failing him on track. The mechanics of his contract make the timing even sharper. Verstappen has a clause that frees him to leave if he's outside the top 2 in the championship at the summer break. After Silverstone, sitting 7th, it's now mathematically locked in. That clause is live. He doesn't have to announce anything until October, which means Red Bull could spend the rest of the season not actually knowing whether they're building around their championship driver or preparing to replace him. And this is where it gets genuinely strange, because reports suggest Red Bull may already be preparing for that second scenario, and the name being floated isn't the one everyone expected. For weeks, Oscar Piastri has been the obvious name attached to any Verstappen departure, a straight swap. Verstappen to McLaren, Piastri to Red Bull. But according to recent reporting, Red Bull has also been closely monitoring a completely different driver, one currently on Ferrari's books. There's a specific reason that connection makes sense. Red Bull's own team principal is the same man who originally signed that driver into Ferrari's junior academy years ago. He knows the talent personally, from the ground up. The complication is that Ferrari's own seat situation makes that driver very hard to promote internally. Charles Leclerc holds a long-term contract, and Hamilton has made clear he intends to race for several more years yet. Which means, in blunt terms, the door to a Ferrari race seat for that young driver is close to fully shut, at exactly the moment Red Bull might have an opening. If Verstappen genuinely does leave, Red Bull isn't just hunting for a replacement. They may be quietly building an entirely different long-term project. Whether that project involves Piastri or a rising talent from inside Ferrari's own junior system is now a real open question. Layer all of that on top of the wing failures, and you get one of the most loaded storylines in the sport right now. A driver 7th in the championship, 103 points off the lead, driving a car that's physically thrown him off the track twice in 2 weekends, owned by a company that can't agree internally on whether they even want him beyond this year. Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, the sacrifice at Spa, now to Ferrari, and specifically to a decision that looks almost backwards on paper. All season, Ferrari has run a small aerodynamic device low on the rear of the car, feeding off exhaust gas to help seal airflow and press the rear tires into the track through corners. It's been a genuine advantage, clever enough that the FIA has already confirmed this style of device gets banned starting in 2027. Ferrari got there first, and rivals have spent the year trying to reverse engineer it. Here's the catch nobody talks about. That same device doesn't switch off on the straights. It keeps generating load, and load on a straight isn't grip, it's drag. Ferrari's own engineers have reportedly put a number on it, roughly 7 horsepower lost on every long straight, all season, purely from a part designed to help them in the corners. For Spa, the fastest, longest lap on the entire calendar, reports say Ferrari is planning to remove it entirely for the first time all season. No blown flap, less cornering downforce, but a car built specifically to survive the Kemmel Straight rather than shine through the middle sector. It's a gamble because it treats the symptom, not the disease. Hamilton's real problem all season hasn't been aerodynamic. It's been deployment, the car's electrical system running out of push before the end of long straights, while Mercedes simply keeps pulling. Removing the flap buys back top speed. It does nothing to refill the battery faster. The actual fix, a turbo-focused power unit evolution, is reportedly still weeks away, expected later in the season rather than this weekend. The stakes are real. Hamilton sits 3rd in the championship on 147 points, 32 behind championship leader Kimi Antonelli. Mercedes leads the constructors' standings by 78 points over Ferrari, a gap built largely on exactly this kind of long, straight, heavy circuit. Silverstone briefly flipped the script. Hamilton took sprint pole and won the race outright on a power circuit Ferrari feared, though he still lost 2nd place late on through a strategy call rather than raw pace. Spa is the far more brutal version of that same test, and Ferrari won't know if the sacrifice was worth it until the cars are actually on track. Beyond Spa, Ferrari's bigger picture looks genuinely aggressive. A major aerodynamic package is reportedly coming at Zandvoort in late August, touching the front wing, floor, diffuser, and side pods, alongside continued work on tire management and further engine evolution expected to close the horsepower gap decisively by Monza in September. Mercedes, notably, has reportedly decided not to use its remaining engine development token for the rest of this year at all, banking it instead for 2027, which gives Ferrari a real window to close the gap if their upgrade plan lands. Around the paddock, a few other things worth knowing quickly. The wider development race in Formula One this year has turned unusually aggressive, with teams finding 2 to 3 tenths of a second per upgrade instead of the tiny fractions typical late in a regulation cycle. That's fueled a public back and forth between Ferrari's team principal and his Mercedes counterpart. After Mercedes suggested Ferrari's upgrade pace looked almost limitless, a comment Ferrari's boss firmly pushed back on as an unfair insinuation about how they're spending under the cost cap. And Aston Martin and Williams, both starting the year well off the pace, are taking the opposite approach entirely, holding their major updates back for Hungary and Baku respectively, rather than spending early. So here's where the sport stands right now. A 4-time champion caught between a car that's failed him twice and an ownership group that can't agree on his future. A 7-time champions team gambling its cornering strength against its biggest weakness at the worst possible track to do it, and an upgrade war heating up on every front. If Verstappen does walk away from Red Bull, who should get that seat? Piastri or a driver pulled straight out of Ferrari's own academy? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for daily coverage as all of this develops. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee using the link in the description. Every coffee helps me spend more time researching, editing, and creating better Formula One videos for you. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.